No, it's supposed to be exactly that way. The only time I've been difficult is when the friendly lead, you slammed up against the wall and fallen.
Well, that wasn't really you being difficult. That was kind of hoist by my own petard, as the phrase has it.
But even as I was saying that, I was thinking, I'm making a rod for my own back here because this was the contact. What am I going to do now? So hello and welcome to our stream, which you may or may not be watching at the moment. I will have a look on my iPad and see what's happening on the YouTubes. While I'm doing that, Dave and Tony, what can you remember about the adventures of Oshian and Yaqub just 1 week ago?
Was it really only a week ago? Feels like longer.
It does.
Long week.
A week is a long time in Coriolis.
Yeah.
I do remember
during lockdown, the time seems to be going really, really fast, but this last week has seemed like a long week.
So I remember that we followed a lead to find a couple of guys who had been working, I think, at the arson, the burned out wharf, and they were hiding in an underground like big cellar arrangement, kind of off the grid, but this place is a dogfighting establishment. We found them, or we found their remains, having been killed moments before we arrived, as ever. Or maybe the night before, wasn't it? I think
the night before. Yeah, it wasn't moments before. You went into a busy dogfighting scene, and they showed you the remains of the bodies.
Cosmically speaking, it was moments.
And I'm gonna note this on our Twitter, Dave. You're remembering shit which hardly ever happens.
Well, it's only a week ago, isn't it? The last one, isn't
it? No, yeah, but that's normally long enough.
That's true.
To forget everything. So we did that. Then we went off to do something else, but I don't remember what that was. But we were going to come back because this guy had agreed to try and arrange a meeting back at the dogfighting establishment with the guy that we were supposed to meet at the hammam in the first place before I got super violent.
Tubrigatan.
Tubra, yeah. And we've got a day before that, or we had a day before that, and then we went off to do something else, but I don't
We went to the slave market, market on a big barge, where we saw some slaves. You freed a slave by buying him, a boy.
Yep.
Who we took back to my aunt's house. It turned out that somebody had planted a bomb in my aunt's house, which we spotted and managed to defuse.
Yep.
So you don't always turn up just moments after everybody's dead. Sometimes you turn up just moments before
we're dead.
Yeah.
And apparently, from asking around, the fortune teller that we'd previously seen outside the Hassam office before we found that maybe Hassam dead within the said office had been seen hanging around earlier around my aunt's house.
And I got 3 satchel charges by disassembling that device. But by the sounds of it, they're not actually that dangerous anyway.
We probably would have.
Yes, they are rather crappy Coriolis rules explosives discovered.
Which is why I'm not sure what episode it was. I proposed some other explosive rules for Coriolis, but that's a long time ago.
Yes, we did, and we'll put a link to that episode in the show notes for this episode.
Good man, well done.
That would be the thing to do, wouldn't it?
It would be very professional.
So you also made a note that we talked to Naland, who was the slave that we rescued, who about what happened to him to get him there. So he'd been kidnapped, put in a suspension pod, and woke up in a big area with lots of pods around. He remembered a woman in a green shawl who examined him, wrapped his arm in bandages, saying that his fate in the Sky City would be worse than just at the slave markets. And he was then shown to a well-dressed man who decided that he would be sent to the slave markets and not presumably to this Sky City, where we could speculate maybe that's where the mystics are getting sent. And we did have a plan that we might go and talk to Ijala Baku, who is the contact we've got that's going to organise passage for us back to Bay Basin and back to our ship once we're done.
With the intention of trying to get the boy sent back there, so we're not.
Yeah,
he's not at risk by being near us.
Excellent. So, what order do you want to do all that in? Shall we imagine? Well, what did you do after you defused the bomb about actually sleeping in your aunt's house at night?
I suspect we want to try and secure the house so nobody can get in whilst whilst.
Let us assume that you kept watch or something, and there were no further incidents through the night.
Well, I guess first things first, let's get rid of the boy, shall we?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So you want to make contact with
Ijala.
That's the wrong book.
With Ijala Baku.
Ijala Baku.
That's interesting. I can't remember where she is.
She's in Little Algol somewhere, apparently. I've made a note of.
No, I mean, what page of this book she's on?
I see.
I don't think I told you that.
Possibly
She's on page
not.
152.
I didn't make a note of that. No.
I'm quite looking forward, once we get through the book, of actually reading the book, seeing I own it. And immediately Matt would say, "Don't look at it. Don't even look at the first page." So I haven't. Sat in my drawer downstairs, lovingly waiting for me to read it.
I can't find it, and I'm not going to. This is a relatively benign, not essential part of the adventure. So
we go there and find her dead.
No, you don't go there and find her dead.
She's dead, and all her family and everyone she's ever met.
Yes,
He's dead.
And about 20 minutes ago, and there was some gypsy woman wandering around that.
But she is alive and well, and
not for long.
Not what we've talked to her.
A little bit nervous is what
I'm not
you
surprised.
can tell about her.
She's heard about the curse of Yaqub and Oshian. Everyone we speak to then dies.
Well, I mean, she is a freedom fighter. She's an insurgent. She normally stays in hiding. You were given a way to contact her by allies of hers. They also told her that you'd be arriving, but this is the first time she has met you, and you come with a small child attached. So she's a little bit puzzled about exactly what's going on. But she greets you in this very temporary house. It's a sort of
like a safe house,
a sort of cantina, but it's a really cheap sort of shantytown cantina where everybody's sitting on crates and there aren't any proper tables, and the drinks are served in kind of canisters that aren't proper glasses. They're oil containers and things that have been sliced in half and sort of created shaved down, as it were, smoothed over. And the cohol here is very much some sort of moonshine. You don't think that
I'll have a pint, please.
She knows even the owner terribly well. This is very much a temporary location for her. It's not the place for a small boy. So given that this was the rendezvous point that was arranged, she's again surprised by this small boy that you have brought in place. She greets you reasonably politely, though, and bids you sit down and offers you some of this cohol.
Thanks. Yeah, we've got a slave for sale. You also 100 bear. Not saying that.
You're not saying that because you remember she is connected with the Shaka rebellion that you have helped, who are kind of anti-slavery.
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying that. Well, that was a hilarious player joke.
Oh, that was a hilarious. Right. Could you give me a warning when you're about to say a hilarious joke, and I will duly laugh.
Thanks. So
yes. So what are you saying?
we're saying, we're kind of explaining that we were given her name as a contact by the other insurgents in Bay Basin, who we helped to take over Bay Basin.
In fact, we were intricately involved. We were central to the success of the revolution. Just saying,
So yes, you are friends of the Shako Brigade. I have been. Your reputation precedes you. I am instructed to offer you whatever help I can, and particularly passage back to your ship near Bay Basin. Have you completed your work here?
No, we haven't. We're not ready to go back yet, but we have this young lad here, Nalad, was a slave. We've freed him. And we think it's a good idea for him to get out of the conglomerate as soon as possible. So we'd like to arrange passage for him to Bay Basin and some care for him once he gets there.
Until we can get back, and then we will take him back to his family on Coriolis.
This is not what I was expecting. I'm not a childminder.
We're not asking you to mind him. We're asking you to send him back to Bay Basin.
She looks at the boy and asks him his name, and he replies politely. What's his injury? Why is his arm bound like that?
We never looked, did we?
Well,
it's a good point. No idea.
Well, it was bound because when he was arrived in the pods, the woman that examined him wrapped his arm in bandage. I don't think his arm is actually injured. I think this woman had decided that he should not be sent to the Sky City. He should just go to the slave market. So actually, I'm not sure his arm is actually injured. I guess we would have asked, wouldn't we?
Well, he told you that she told him not to take it off, and I think he was probably a bit defensive if you did try to take it off. And he insists now that he mustn't take it off, that the lady in the green shawl told him that he shouldn't take it off.
Well, you're not a slave anymore, lad, so whatever the lady in the green shawl tells you, you don't have to do anymore.
But you can see he's scared that if he takes it off, people will know that he's fit and well, and the fate that she indicated will maybe happen.
You're muted, Dave.
Which is a pleasure. Yeah. That's not appropriate for a video conference.
It's a lot better than what I was going to do. So yeah, the lady in the green shawl has no power over you anymore, because in the law of this place, we became your owners by buying you, but you're not a slave. We're not going to keep you as a slave. We're going to take you home to your parents. Just not yet. We have business here to finish first, and then we'll take you
as long as we don't get killed as well before then, obviously.
He doesn't need to know everything. Or as long as we don't get bored and decide that we're just going to go for us.
But our ship's back. If you go to Bay Basin, our ship's there, or near there. So
you'll look after me in Bay Basin? He asks innocently.
One of the friends of our wonderful friend here, Yala, who will arrange safe passage for your return.
Right, I'm going to foist him on either Paul or Millie's character. I think Paul's character.
Paul, yeah, and he's going to behave really badly. This kid now, he's going to be like just writing on the walls and putting the cat's tail and everything.
Right. So in the end, you negotiate this, and she asks for. She says, "I'm prepared to give you passage The boy, though, will cost extra. We are fighting a war here. We are not a taxi service or a childminder.
We're fighting a war to free slaves, surely. And this is a freed slave that we've just, who was in the slave market that we have literally just freed from the slave market.
If you'd freed a slave who was old enough to be a soldier, then I would welcome him with open arms. But are you telling me that I should send children to fight?
You're not concerned about saving slaves who are children, then? Just leave them to be slaves?
Only the slaves that can be used.
I am. Yeah, it's just that my operation costs money and I have very little of it. Consider it a contribution to the campaign.
How much money is it going to cost to row this boy back up the river? And feed him for a week or two.
Tell you what, do you want to make a
I think Tony can make a manipulate roll on this one. I'll help him. Gratitude doesn't run very far with these people, does it really? You know, not only have we helped their revolution, we're saving slaves, and they're like, well, I can't afford to send the slave back to, to freedom. Like, okay.
Oh,
am I making a manipulate roll?
Well, are you making a manipulate roll?
Well, I think so. I think we're trying to.
I wouldn't. So you're negotiating a price, effectively.
I'd make a manipulate roll. I can offer you. Are you ruling that I've got to have a point in the skill?
Yeah, that's the rules in this game, mate. Okay. Keep up to date.
Sorry, I'm all about alien. I'm the Free League alien guy after all.
Well, I'm the racing guy. Why
exactly.
Why isn't Tony running Coriolis for us?
Yeah, I know, exactly.
No, I'm the Coriolis guy. I like Coriolis.
So do I.
It's my favorite game. However, yes.
So does that mean you can't help then?
So no, I can't help.
Okay,
let's
have a go anyway.
I could try and manipulate on my own, but I can't offer you any help.
I get one success. I don't think I'm going to push.
Nah, it's going to be. Basically, we'll charge double when we send the bill up to the judge anyway. So
100 burr she wants.
100?
Well, if you'd been a better negotiator, I might have given you a discount for a child price. But
okay, we'll pay that.
It's what it would have cost you going down the river. It's in the book, mate. I don't make all this shit. If you hadn't done so well helping the Shaka militia,
we'd have had to pay 100
passage.
Down.
You'd have been paying 100 burr.
Fair enough.
Seems a bit steep for, like you say, basically
rowing a kid up the river.
A rowboat up the river.
Right. What are you doing next after that negotiation? And you 100 burr later in your tag.
In our receipt book, I'm writing 200 burr.
That seems fair.
And then we'll pat the boy on the head and say he'll be fine, and that we'll see him again in a couple of weeks before we take him back to his parents. So, do we have anything else that we want to do, Tone, before we return?
We can ask. While we're here, Ijala Baku, what she knows about Dul Qasar and his palace, and whether she has any contacts inside who work in the palace or anything that could be useful of that nature.
Before we do that, Matt, how long have we got before? What time of day is it? Is it kind of like first thing in the morning now?
That was your plan, I think. The first thing we must do is get rid of the child, is what you said.
So
some of our commentators think you were going to murder the child or something like that.
No. I wouldn't have bought the child if I was going to murder him. No, would I? I'm releasing him. I'm freeing him. I'm doing a good thing, people. Come on, get with the plan. So my thought was, if it's still kind of earlier in the morning than the time that the guy who runs the dog fighting place would get back there, I want to get there first, and I want to basically scout the place to see if he's coming back with people who look disreputable. see if he's setting us up, basically.
Right. So he
And
said that he normally came back here and started opening the place up
Late
around
morning
noon.
or
And
something.
you're
was
saying
it?
you want to get there before he gets there.
I want to get there, and I want to set up so I can survey it from covertly to see anyone going in and out. And if this guy turns up with 3 blokes who look like they feed people to dogs, I want to know that.
Okay.
And I'll leave Tony to do the negotiation stuff because he's better at it than I am anyway.
So
does that sound like a plan, Tony?
Yes.
So where are you leaving Tony?
I'll leave him in the cantina.
Oh, right. Okay.
Once we've got rid of the boy.
Right. So let's just take you over there now. Can you make an infiltration roll to find yourself a hiding place?
I will certainly try. Infiltrate. I think I get 5 dice. Okay, that's a good start. That's 2 successes.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a pretty secure hiding place, and you know it's secure because a patrol of the Nestara security forces comes by, and they're looking for trouble effectively, and they don't notice you at all.
Cool.
So you feel pretty secure there. But we'll cut back to Tony, and so what are you asking? Sorry, you asking about Dolcassar?
Yes. What Ujala knows about him in his palace and whether she has any contacts inside the palace or anybody who may be working around the wedding that's coming up.
So she says that Dolcassar is effectively the kingpin of crime in the what's the word I'm looking for?
Conglomerate?
No, Little Algol, where we are. Little Algol, that part of the conglomerate that we're at. He doesn't have any challenges to this. She has some dealings with him, but no love for him because he's a slave trader. But you've got to be polite to him because he effectively is the representative of the syndicate hereabouts. Given what you did to the Berbicils in Bay Basin, it may already be that he knows your faces. And
well, yeah, somebody left a bomb in my aunt's house. So.
He isn't going to be friendly to you. She thinks about it for some time and says she could possibly get you in as laborers or something into the event, but you can see she's really reluctant to do so. She doesn't want to get into trouble with him, and her operation is a little bit more important than yours in these circumstances, is kind of what she's saying. But she hasn't ruled it out.
Okay, well, thanks for that offer. We have some other leads we're looking at, but we might well need to infiltrate that wedding possibly. So we may come back and ask for your help in that. But thank you for the offer.
Very well. Give me warning. Come back early in the afternoon because
how long is it till the wedding?
Is in the evening tonight.
Is it today? Okay.
Today, yeah. Right. Anything else you want to ask about?
No, I don't think so for now. That'll do.
Okay. She says we've been here long enough. She welcomes the boy, and she's surprisingly kind to the boy, having been so standoffish before. And they head off in a different direction to you, out of this cheap cantina. And the last you see of them, the boy's looking over his shoulder at you, but he doesn't. He's holding her hand in a trusting way.
Cool.
Okay, so I guess I'll head back over to the
Right. Can you make an
Dogfighting
observation
place.
roll, Dave, from your hiding place?
Does this involve a surprise attack?
No.
Just in case. Always good. Always good to check. Okay, no, actually, I get 7 dice. I'm going to push that. So get
Okay.
a darkness point, Matt. And I
will
get
take a darkness point. I'll
2
add it to my
successes.
copious pile of darkness points.
So I get 2 successes on the reroll.
2 successes on the reroll.
Oh, hang on. Who did I pray to last? I usually pray to the observation one.
The observation one?
as they're known.
Would that be the icon known as the observer?
the icon of the big eyes. So I can't remember where I wrote it down. Not that is 2 successes enough? Do I need to worry?
The icon that you would need to for observation is the gambler.
Gambler, yeah.
Is that who you pray to in advance? You want to roll 2 extra dice?
I roll 2 extra dice, yeah.
Go on, I'll let you.
Because that's the one I normally do. Because observation.
You've been sitting there waiting for some time, so you could have made it preparatory prayer, not necessarily in the chapel, but I'll give it.
No, I didn't get any extra successes anyway. So 2 successes.
Okay, so you notice that he does indeed come with about 3 heavy guys, but they're no heavier than the guys. In fact, they are some of the guys that were running his operation.
I was going to say, did I recognize any of them from the day before?
From the day before, yeah. And he doesn't seem to be doing it duplicitously. They'd woken, obviously they wake late in the morning. They meet at some local cantina. They've obviously had their coffee, and they are strolling and chatting and in a kind of relaxed way. And he gets out this big bundle of keys, and when he's not there, this place looks like a condemned building with steel shutters across the doors, locked with great big heavy padlocks. And he just undoes one of those padlocks. 2 of the guys move this heavy steel shutter to one side, and inside is the door that you entered by last time. And they head in. 1 person stays outside.
Okay, cool. Just good to know that it doesn't look like he's doing something dodgy. I will keep observing until it gets closer to the time when we would arrive anyway, just to see if anybody else comes in or out.
Okay. Who's going to arrive first? I wonder, Dave or I'm gonna. Yeah, you see a couple of people turn up.
Okay.
From the way they walk, they are women. One of them, though, is very tall.
This person we're trying to meet, was that a man or a woman?
Well,
did we ever
throughout
ascertain?
this adventure, you have assumed that she was a man.
Okay.
I think I've corrected you a couple of times.
Right.
Or dropped some really heavy hints that if you're looking for a man, maybe you don't know the person so well.
Yeah, okay. Point taken.
But to be fair, you could argue that this very tall, half Sogoi half Sogoi individual could be mistaken for a man if you'd glimpsed her. She is quite tall and well muscled, hefty. She could be a bouncer at a nightclub. You remember that she worked as a stevedore. She's large, wiry, wearing rough work pants and occasionally and a dupatta held in place by a harness containing ammunition for a sawed-off rifle. She's got a awe-inspiring muscles, putting the fear of gods into even the strongest men. Fear of the icons, I should say, of even the strongest men. The person who's with her is very different. She is smaller. You'd guessed she has some Zenithian blood in her from the way she walks, from the way she looks. They come together kind of nervously, looking around. Let's just see whether they spot you. I think not. You got 2 successes, didn't you? On your yeah. But they're obviously looking. You know, they're wary and looking for ambush. As they get to the door, the taller one bends to kiss the other one, and the other one heads off down an alleyway. And the taller one goes into the room.
So I could see ammo on the taller one. Was she obviously armed as well?
Yeah, she has a sawn-off rifle.
And the other one, was she armed? Were he armed? Do they look like they've gone off to be kind of backup?
I don't know. I don't think you can tell that. You didn't see any weapons.
Right. Okay. I'll wait until I know Tony contacts me and he's a bit closer, and then I'll move out and go and meet him somewhere before we appear, rather than just appear out of the bushes.
Okay. So you meet up very possibly the same cantina that the guy had been drinking at before. I've forgotten his name. Shamood. Shamood had been drinking at earlier on. And I don't know whether you're going to stop for a drink there.
Well, is it near the? Have we agreed a
It's
time?
It's kind of round the
go?
corner from the this dilapidated warehouse.
I think did we agree a time, or did we just say?
Well, you said, I think he said something like, come shortly afternoon. I'm sure I agreed a time, but I didn't make a note of it. And
I seem to remember it be us saying we'll be there at midday or something, or quite early in his work day.
Hold on a second.
Are you talking to somebody on?
I may be.
Okay, that's the good thing for the GM to do halfway through the game when we're live.
So it's all game related. Don't you worry your pretty little head about anything, Dave.
Well, it might be game related, yeah. But
so you walk in, and things are being swept up. Their dogs are being fed. There is the business of preparing the place rather than any customers being here. As you go in, you can see the 4 guys that you saw coming in earlier on, but you can't see the tall woman.
Can we see Shamood?
You can. He's one of the 4 guys you saw coming in earlier. And then he sees you and says, my friends, you are timely. It is good. I like people who are on time. Come. And he takes you into his office where the tall woman that you saw earlier on is waiting. And
I'm making sure that my carbine is easily extracted from under my kaftan if necessary, but not making it look like...
just calm down for the minute, Oshian.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk for the moment.
Don't hit her.
We've had enough, double crosses.
This is Tubra Gutan, he says. I believe she is the person you are looking for. Tubra avoids eye contact with you. Hold on. What social status are you? What's your reputation?
2.
Okay. She makes eye contact with you, recognizing that you are like her, relatively scummy, and nervously smiles a greeting, but she doesn't talk much.
I say, it's a pleasure to meet you, Tubra. Here is my card.
It's quite nice to find a contact still alive when we meet them.
That's a nice opening comment to make, isn't it?
Yes. It seems somebody has been killing my crew, she says.
So,
yes.
Do we know, did Tubra Gutan work for Niobe Hassan, or was it the other way around?
She did, yes. You knew that. Niobe Hassan ran Hassan's. The clue is in the name. But you can ask her about the exact relationships, I guess. That's what role-playing is all about, boys. I noticed Millie says, ooh, Dr. Jones being very sassy tonight.
Yeah, that was 20 minutes ago. I'm not quite sure what you were doing 20 minutes ago to be sassy. I'm sure Millie can enlighten us. But
sassy is a very, very polite way of putting it. It's basically being a git. But nothing unusual about that, is there really?
No. So it's a pleasure to meet you. We are interested in your safety. We are not connected with what's been going on with your crew, but we are. I think we have a common enemy. I suspect, in that your crew has probably been responsible in one form or another for transporting somebody of whom we have an interest, and we are trying to find where these people have gone.
And we get the impression that your erstwhile customers or
the recipients of
colleagues, Dol Kassar and his crew are now in a position where they're wanting to cover up any evidence of what they've been doing, which includes, it appears, taking down you and your crew.
So he says that a couple of days ago, a couple of her crew failed to turn up for their shift, and she thought nothing of it at the time. But then the warehouses burst into flames, and some of her workers are trapped inside. And that's when she started suspecting foul play. And she was trying to hide her workers, but was constantly one step behind the killer.
Know that feeling.
Yeah. She's still clutching this shotgun. She doesn't trust you not to be killers, as it were, but she's not letting go of that. Tell me, who are you looking for? I'm confused. What brings you here?
We're looking for a particular individual who we believe was taken by the slavers and passed through your organisation to Dulcasar and on to wherever they take them after that. It's quite an important individual that we urgently need to track down. There was another individual we're looking for who sadly, it appears, didn't make it on any further than the warehouse that burned down.
She expresses her sympathies and says, yeah, they've been shipping stasis pods through the warehouse and they go on to Dulcasar's palace. They're taken to a door on the river that leads into the palace's basement.
Can you show us
where they go
door...
from there? She can't really help you.
Can you show us where that door is? Is that a secret door? Is that like a, you know, is it
no,
kind of like
it's a lot of the deliveries here happen on water.
So this is just like a tradesman's entrance.
Yes, yeah.
So presumably
do all the slaves. Sorry, they've gone.
No, presumably we saw that when we did the record of the palace in the first place.
I'm not sure that you would have seen it from water, so you'd approach from the land side.
Yeah, okay.
But you might have assumed that it had a water side as well, and that there would be stuff like that. But you were looking at the front gardens and stuff like that in your adventure.
So do all the slaves that come through the Dulcasar's organization go into his palace, or only some of them?
Well,
because we've heard that some of the slaves go to the slave market, the barge, in Little Algol and get sold there, but some don't. Some are taken on. We've heard that the name Sky City mentioned, although we don't know where that is. Do you know anything about
Sky
that?
City is in the. She points to the monolith, which of course overshadows every. Well, she doesn't because we're inside, but she points in the direction of where the monolith.
Is that something I would have heard of and would know?
Yeah, I think Sky. Yeah.
So I would know that Sky City was.
But she says, "Look, I don't know what he did with his slaves. I don't even know that who the people in the stasis pods were slaves. Our job was to deliver stasis pods to the basements. What happened? I don't know. We weren't sorting slaves for him. He, I'm not saying he's not a slaver. We know that he runs much of Little Algol's slave trade. But I think he thinks the trade's beneath him. But that's just a statement of fact. But what we were doing is taking stasis pods with people inside him. We're not denying it. But we were
because we have seen an invoice which basically is a list of slaves with where they came from. So I think you were dealing in slaves.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying we were dealing in slaves.
I think from our point of view.
But what you're asking is where the slaves go on?
Yes, that is what we want to know.
So I've heard rumours, I can't tell you for certain, that some are sold as slaves to the monolith. But I've also heard that some are shipped on to somewhere else. I don't know where, though. And you're right, some are sold in the markets outside. And she points in the direction of the big souk where you'd picked up the boy.
Yeah.
Not many that come out of those pods.
And the ones that are sold for the monolith, are these all? They're all delivered to the palace first.
All the pods are delivered to the palace. Leod and the guy in Bay Basin has struck a deal which allows Leod to keep some of the pods for himself, is what I understand.
So for who to keep some of the pods themselves?
Leod Dulcasar.
Oh, yeah.
the guy in the palace. But I think these are middlemen. You have to understand, trade is like this. Something passes from one to the other to the other. I'm not sure that Leod is the end customer, as it were.
So Dolkasar could just be another middleman passing them on to someone else.
I've heard that some go to the Sultra marshes, but I don't know whether that's true.
Where are the Sultra marshes? Player to GM.
They're on this planet somewhere. Right.
What are they?
I would have heard of them. They're like.
You might have heard of them. Are you going to make me look at the Sultra marshes? I'm going to have to go ahead.
Well, you mentioned them, didn't you? Come on.
Fairly predictable thing that there might be a subsidiary question following up a lead like that, Matt. Come on.
Let me find where the marches are.
And I am going to ask Tubra, when was the last delivery of stasis pods? When did you make the last delivery to Dolkasar?
Well, we were planning on making a delivery just a couple of days ago, but then the warehouse burned down.
And was that expected to be the last delivery that you were going to make?
The last delivery, as far as I know, this was an arrangement that was going to carry on until God knows when. I wasn't expecting it to end.
Because we did see a document suggesting that the arrangement was coming to an end. And
I'm not sure that Niobe knew anything. Of course, we can't ask her now.
No.
It's possible. I think that the note again between me and Yaqub, the note we had wasn't that. It was just signed Q, wasn't it? Or it was 2Q.
Yes.
It wasn't Niobe necessarily.
No. Q and was somebody called S as well, was there?
Yeah.
I can't remember the detail of that note particularly.
Yeah, but again, I think completely Niobe and this person are complete middle persons.
Yeah, because on the invoice, which I've got in front of me, it says invoice to Q, payment to S via Q. But then the payment it's going to be going back down the line, isn't it?
Okay. I suspect we need to get in to the palace, don't we?
Yeah. So Sky City in the monolith, is this going to be the very posh upper levels that we're not going to get into easily? I guess a clue in the name Sky City. It might be quite high up.
But then presumably we might be able to do something with the help of the judge to get us in.
Maybe it depends how much the judge wants to directly get involved. Which I suggest the fact that she's hired us is not.
Well, yeah, it might not be that she rings up and says, "I've got a couple of mates here, who
are can you let me in?
Hop over." That we might be able to use her influence through the, covertly to gain enough credentials to gain access.
Possibly. Then that may not be where the emissary and the mystics are going. So if what Tuba says,
so what was the
some other place?
Yeah. What was the marsh about then, Matt? Did you find it?
Just trying to find how far away it is, and I'm not sure I found it yet.
And is it just from what we know about it? Is it just a marsh?
It's a valley with marshes in it.
Does something special happen there?
Is there like a city there?
Is it renowned for something?
It's a few hours' journey out of the conglomerate. You'll probably need a boat to get there.
What's it known for? If anything?
Not known for anything particular. Oh, no, I'll tell you what it's known for. Actually, I can tell you. Tony, you'll have heard this. Tales of Jinn and Demons. That's what it's known for.
Is it like a big uninhabited sort of
Yeah,
area?
and not a particularly friendly sort of area.
Okay.
Hold on, I can find you a little bit more. Let me just do a quick search.
So what do you think, Tony? Do we just want to try and, get into the palace? But it's a bit blind, isn't it? We don't really know what we're looking for or where
No,
we're going.
like I said, the slaves again are just going to be passing through there. Whether we're going to find anything in there that will tell us where
Where they're going.
where they're going.
You are aware, Tony, I will say this little bit of information. You're aware that there may have been habitation at a place called Sul Mahala in the Sultra Valley, but there was a dam, or known as Cataract 27, which collapsed, flooding the area, and I don't think there's been anybody living there since.
So
when was the last delivery of the last stasis pod that was delivered? I'm asking.
Days ago, she says. 3 or 4.
Okay.
Maybe only 3. Just before you arrived. I'm just being a bit vague about how many nights you've been here.
I think we've been here 2 nights, maybe.
Yeah, so then maybe 3 nights ago. It was, she kind of says, we were mid-delivery. We're expecting to take some more up the river to his palace, but then, the place was on fire. So, I didn't particularly rush in to get some more out.
Does he have his own like landing pad and stuff within the palace grounds? How do they shift stuff out of the palace? So if you want,
same way, most stuff here goes in and out via the river. I'm not aware of a private spaceport.
but I guess the river doesn't go into the monolith, does it? So to get to the monolith for delivering stuff to Sky City, how would that
kind of what I was thinking.
how would that go?
Sorry, say that again. I just
So the river most stuff goes in and out by the river, in and out, works for stuff in and out of the conglomerate from Little Alcohol, but the river doesn't go near the monolith. So any slaves are delivering the monolith. How would they get moved?
If we check out the map, do we want to check out the map?
Why not?
Why not? Because I'm looking at it, but
I haven't got access to it.
probably useful if everyone else can see it as well.
There we go. Can we see the map here?
Yep.
Can I see us expanding it?
Yep.
So the river goes this far up to Ara. So there's a lot of trade that gets done here, and stuff that's for the monolith goes through Mabia up to Ara. And I think we said that the Dolkasar's palace is in this part of Little Angle.
So it would still come out of his palace by river.
Yeah.
But then would have to be offloaded somewhere up there in Ara.
Yeah. Although if it's going out to Sultra, maybe it goes down one of these other rivers, down the mid-Jiang, I think.
Do we need to get jobs inside as stevedores? Dock hands, like just loading and unloading the stuff that comes in and out of the palace.
I'm just remembering, she said, you asked about that last time. The last time I remember was a little bit strange. Normally, it's business as usual. We take a crate in, they open up the doors, we go in with the thing, we come out. But I remember they didn't let us in initially. It took a bit of arguing to before we were able to deposit the stasis beds.
And what was their concern? What was their reason for not letting you in?
I'm just putting two and two together. This was after I'd lost a couple of my crew. They were nervous. I thought it was about this wedding. They weren't wanting us to clutter up the place while they got all the sort of well, it's not a wedding, it's a betrothal party they're having. And I thought it was all to do with, they were too busy for us, or maybe too embarrassed about what we were delivering. Who knows? But I'm just wondering if they were scared. Whether,
so is there...
you talk about a middleman, whether whoever's wiped out my crew and Yobi.
Maybe it's not Dolkasar at all. It's somebody.
Maybe it's the next person further down the line, and that Dolkasar is worried that his crew are worried that they're going to be hit next.
He's equally vulnerable.
I mean, in the end, it was sorted. They let us in. We deposited their things.
Do you know of an old gypsy lady? And I'll describe the gypsy that we saw outside of Niobe's place. We saw her outside Hassam's office just before we found Hassam's freshly murdered body. She seems to be involved in this.
Right. She's not a terribly observant person. But she gets a success on 3 dice. So I'm going to say, you describe this woman so well. She says, I think I have seen somebody like that, telling fortunes or something.
Do you know where we might be able to find her?
No.
You sure we want to find her? Everyone who ever speaks about then mysteriously dies shortly afterwards.
Yeah, they might not be. She might be a lead. If she's the assassin of whoever is doing this, then she might be the best lead to find, her employer. So where have you seen her around, Tubra? Where have you most commonly come across her?
Well, before that fire, I had sneaking suspicions that she was telling fortunes on the docks on Pier 38, whatever the number is, 58.
The one that burned down. Okay. And has she been around forever? Is she like a fixture?
No.
Here?
No.
She just appeared.
You kind of get to know people in here, actually.
I can imagine.
I think I was remarking upon her, I think, because I thought she was new.
And have you seen her anywhere else? Did she talk to Hassam at all, do you know? Or...
No, I don't think she can say.
Right.
Just that one time that you described somebody and she thinks she has seen them.
And she was on the dock just before the wharf was burned down. And she was outside Hassam's office just as Hassam was being murdered. She came near us just before someone tried to kill us. I feel a Dale carbine on full auto moment coming up when I see her. Although it might be nice to talk to her first, actually. And that would draw some attention too, which we might not want to do.
No, but clearly we have already drawn some attention because somebody put a bomb in my aunt's house.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more of the attention of the guards who might not like it when they empty a clip into a
So some old
innocent
fortune
old
teller.
gypsy fortune teller. It's like,
Yeah,
there,
we should probably make
there
sure
you
it's
go,
the right.
bitch. You deserved it.
Yeah.
Might want to be slightly careful.
Well, yeah, to get the right one for start.
Yeah. But even then, explaining afterwards might be a
While
challenge.
we brutally murdered this older woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you get me out of here? She says. Well, me and my wife.
400 birr, we can get you a boat up the river.
400 birr.
and then passage to Coriolis.
Anyway, are they
Are we becoming just like a taxi service for slaves and people who Dol Kassar or whoever it is are trying to kill?
well, and are the insurgents going to be particularly happy about getting slavers out of town just because they're scared for their lives?
That's true, yeah. But then might they, yeah. Do you still have like an organization here, Tubra? Have you still got crew? Have you got like dozens of crew that you control?
No,
No.
they've been killed. Pretty much everybody that worked on Pier 58. Apart from me now.
You do make a reasonable point, Yaqub, that we probably shouldn't bend over backwards to save the life of a slaver, really.
And this is somebody who's
Are you saying this in front of her? Because she will, if you do, she'll protest that she's not a slaver, she's a stevedore.
Honestly, I don't think there is anything we could do. This is your area, it's not ours. We're from Coriolis. We don't have the contact to get you out. You need to use your own networks. I'm not sure there's anything we can do to.
I will say what you might, a place of safety if you try and keep your head down and don't discuss what you've done at this end. If you get up the river to Bay Basin, you might be safe up there from these people. But if they think you're a slaver up there, then you might not be safe from them.
I'm not a slaver.
No,
I'm
but
a stevedore.
they might.
A stevedore that knowingly dealt in slaves.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what you were doing, didn't you?
Can I make an
I lifted
observation
the
roll
slaves up
to
and
see?
put them in another place.
Can I make an
Healing
observation roll
slaves.
to see how genuine she is with all of this? Is she genuinely, wanting our help to save her life, or is she?
I think I won't make you make a roll for that.
Okay.
I think she seems to be pretty genuine.
I'm going to say, look, I watched you and your wife arrive. You're armed. I think your wife wasn't. She may be an innocent in all of this. I'm going to advise you to go upriver to Bay Basin, wait there, and let's talk when we return in a couple of weeks, probably. And we might be able to help you.
She nods and holds out her hand in thanks.
Taking it off the rifle.
Yeah.
No. It's a joke. Yeah, I'll shake her hand.
Right. She then wants to get out of there pretty quickly because she feels she needs to make sure there aren't any little old fortune tellers around her where her wife is.
Watch out for little old fortune tellers. After she goes, I'm just going to say to Yaqub that I kind of feel that the more allies we have in and around, the better, and it doesn't harm us to give her a bit of advice.
Yeah, I don't feel.
What she did. No.
I don't feel I'm inclined to help anybody who had an intrinsic role in this trade that led to Nor coming down here and being killed.
No,
Who indeed lifted Nor into that warehouse, one imagines.
Yeah, I know
and
that.
Watched her burn.
Her part in this.
Or watched the warehouse burn with her.
She wasn't the one responsible for Noah's death. the people we're tracking down are the ones who are responsible for Noah's death.
True.
And I feel
she played her part.
I feel fairly ally-less here. And I think the more friends we might have to fall back on if we get in deep shit, the better.
That's probably
Dave.
sensible. That's probably sensible.
What?
Where's the real Dave?
I'm role-playing, Matt. It's okay.
right,
I'm
okay,
role-playing.
okay. I see. You're taking on the character of a reasonable person.
Yeah, a reasonable, caring, loving person who
Which
clearly-
your character hasn't been throughout the past 23 episodes of this adventure.
Oh, she's growing as a character.
he is.
Yeah,
growing as a
obviously, yeah.
character.
It's character growth. It's
And
an
to be
arc,
fair,
I'm
he
sorry.
is, basically acting in fairly narrow self-interest.
Yes.
Yeah. And I am consoling the living, which is what my icon wants me to do. So I'm, consoling and helping her and trying, doing my bit. I'm growing as a character. And particularly after the debacle at Samar's Hammam, where clearly being angry and aggressive really, really worked for us, didn't it?
It didn't work for you at all, no. But it was not Samar's Hammam.
I know.
That's our Hammam.
Marina's Hammam.
Hammam Tamina.
Tamina. Yeah. I feel I might want maybe when I come back here, in 5 years or something, I might go and apologise to Tamina, but not now.
In 5 years, she might have calmed down enough to.
Because there are too many
Not
gypsies
immediately.
trying to kill me at the moment. Just would she look good in a gypsy outfit? As in, she doesn't look.
Tamina's not the fortune teller.
If she was like put in a gypsy outfit. With
No.
scarf and
She's
stuff
not.
on.
No, she's not the fortune teller.
No, I didn't think that she was.
She
but
was
I just
only-
thought it was-
So defensive because she feared that you might be the fortune teller. Well, not
Maybe-
fortune teller, but the person going around killing people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the palace, Dol Qassar's palace.
Yeah.
How are you going to get in there?
Well, we can go and have another chat with
Yala.
Ijala Baku. Did say fairly reluctantly that she might better help us get in there in some role related to the wedding or the betrothal
You get a
celebrations.
phone call.
We get a phone call.
Yeah. Well, a communicator starts chirping, and it's
So assuming
what's
we're
her name?
answering it then.
Oh God! Well, you don't
Probably-
need to.
doesn't it
answer if
flash
you don't
up
want
and
to? I'll tell
say-
you who it is. Akuba Kosha,
Oh, that's the adjudicator.
the adjudicator. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we might want to answer that one.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a-
Well,
In a spot where we cannot be overheard.
yes.
We'll say
Okay.
thanks to Shaloub and we'll
Shamood.
the mood.
We'll say thanks for inviting. Completely forgetting his name.
She picks up the phone. It's voice only. Is either of you got technology or science?
I've got technology, yeah.
No, I haven't got any of that nonsense. No.
Roll some technology for me, Dave.
Okay. Just straight up, can I use my tools?
No. This is a knowledge based one.
I get 2 successes
2 successes. Okay.
and 3 5s.
You are aware of the fact that there's a little bit of a delay in communicating between here and Coriolis. This conversation, as you have it, isn't delayed at all.
Mm.
Okay.
And she says, have you got
on.
anything to report yet?
I think we probably have, but yeah.
Yeah. Have we got any reason not to report anything we found back at this stage? I mean, I have my suspicion.
Sorry,
we're going to report
are you having
anyway,
this
weren't we?
conversation while she's on the line?
Yeah. What should we tell her? I think, yeah, we might as well. We
Yeah.
should. I think we should report what we found.
I think we should, yeah, I agree.
So we found the slaves coming through the Hassam organization and then through Dol Qassar and his organization, some going to the Sky City, the monolith, some going on somewhere else. We don't know where. The rumours about it being in the middle of the Saltram marshes.
She shakes her head like she doesn't know where the Saltram marshes are.
Sorry?
She doesn't recognise the Saltram marshes.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah, it's just a marshy valley people used to live till a big dam broke and flooded it. A load of people died. Nobody lives there anymore. It's just a marsh. Dolkasar is big crime boss. They're going through him, but we suspect he's not the end of the chain. We're going to try and find out where the slaves go. Some of them go to Sky City in the monolith. We know that. Might be useful at some point to try and get in there to see where they go. We were planning to try and infiltrate Dolkasar's palace. There's a big wedding celebration about to happen. So we're going to try and get in there, see if we can find out anything about where the slaves go.
How do you propose getting into the palace?
As we mentioned, there's a big celebration about to come up later on today. In fact, we do have a contact who says they may be able to help us get in there in a role in some way involved with that. Or the other thing is that whoever's further up the chain is obviously trying to cut off any evidence down the chain, because most of the Hassam organization has been killed. Dolkasar's organization, as far as we know, is still there, but I think there are signs that they fear that they're in the same line of fire.
I see. And who's your contact that's going to get you in?
Our contact is Ijala Baku, who's associated with the insurgents who took over Bay Basin.
You hear concern in her voice. So let me get this right. This man, Dolkasar, and she says Kasar with a tone of voice that suggests that she despises a first come using the Kasar name. This Dolkasar is scared of being assassinated, and so you're going to use an insurgent to help you get into his palace?
Correct. He's not scared of being assassinated by insurgents. He's scared of being assassinated by whoever's further up the chain of this slave trade.
And do you have any evidence that this woman isn't using you to get to the people that need to be killed?
Only that we didn't just find her randomly in the street.
Well, how did you find her?
We were introduced to her by the people that we met and helped in Bay Basin.
People you helped in Bay Basin.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Insurgents.
What we need to do.
I know the judge said at any cost, but the cost of the collapse of society, of civilized Zenithian society,
you're not
seems
being
to
very
be a rather
helpful.
high one to pay.
You're not being very helpful, are you? So what we need, if we want to find the emissary, we need you to be a little bit more bloody helpful. And what we need to do is know where Dolkasar is a total red herring. We can waste our time trying to get in the palace there. We'll probably get caught. It'll be very difficult, and that will be more damaging to Zenithian, to your bloody.
Very well. I will see if I can help you.
What we need to do is know where it goes from the palace. After that, we can then cut out going to Dolkasar's at all.
And just for the record, the so-called insurgents in Basin, they were basically taking down the crime syndicate that was running the town. What they're doing is the collapse of civilized society is not going to be the result of that. All that the result is going to be is that there's going to be less crime. The town will not be run by a crime syndicate.
Very well, but I don't think insurgency is the way to stop crime. I think reporting reporting crime to the guard on Coriolis or to our
Well,
adjudicators?
Consider it reported then, adjudicated. Do with it what you like.
Dulcazar, slave trader, crime boss. There you go. Reported.
Yeah.
Get
I
on with it.
can.
I'm sure we'll be seeing action in that matter.
And how does that stack up against the loss of the emissary?
You're
Surely
a bit quiet, Dave. Have you changed your mic in some
No.
way?
Nope.
Okay.
Surely us finding the emissary is for the
important.
for the safety and the security of the entire horizon is possibly the most important thing we keep doing right now. Rather
She
than
looks away
reporting,
from the. Well, no, she's not on video camera. She's on sound. There's
rather
a
than
little bit of.
reporting some minor local fracas.
I have somebody who can get you into the Dulcazar's palace. If you meet them on the turn of the watch, I'm making up times because I don't like hours in this thing.
In what
And she gives
capacity?
you a rather upmarket address for we're still within Little Algol, and she says ask for Havima.
Havima.
And in what context will Havima be able to get us into the palace?
Havima is a shall we say works closely with this man Dulcazar. He is a trusted associate.
Havima is a trusted associate
with your uncouth ways.
Havima is a trusted associate of Dulcazar. So we're investigating Dulcazar related to his slave trading and where he sends his slaves onto. And the contact that is going to get us in is a trusted associate of that said slave trader.
You don't need to know who else trusts Havima. Well, except for the fact that I do. He will help you.
So this is a man.
It's a man, yeah. You will recognize him by his immaculate beard and eyeshadow. But he will help you.
So can I just clarify when it says when the judge has said, we need to resolve this situation, at all costs, and you've immediately questioned the level of that cost on a very minor thing here in a minor outpost around the monolith. If we are, inside the palace of this place and we feel the need to do something direct, how much backup do we have from you?
Well, you have a little backup from me, but
well,
I would be there.
I'm not talking about immediate backup. I'm talking about how much support. How much, are we just, at what point do we just get thrown to the wolves?
I think you misunderstand the reason why the Justicars aren't directly involved in this.
No, but you
are involved in this and paid quite handsomely by the judge so that if the time comes, you can be thrown to the wolves. However, in this particular circumstance,
I would like you to clarify what is meant by succeeding at this at all costs means. Then, what does that mean? How do we?
These aren't my words; these are the judge's words. I pass the message on. But be assured that I will be at Dulcazar's palace in the evening as well.
So will you be there as a guest of Dogstar?
As a guest, yes.
Are you also a trusted associate of Dogstar?
Civilized people of Zenithian pedigree, proper Zenithian pedigree, get invited to all the best parties. But when we meet, I would prefer it if we spoke casually, like two party guests, or whatever Havima is going to sort out for you. If you're waiters, then I prefer it if you didn't speak to me at all. However, you may listen to me if you are given such an opportunity. And I would prefer it if you didn't recognize me.
Well, of course, we'll do our best on that score.
Yeah, clearly we'll try to adhere to your preferences. Yeah, of course. But who knows what will happen? It's a fluid situation that has to be resolved at all costs. After all, don't you agree, Akubra?
So, do you want to go and meet Havima?
I guess we do, don't we?
Okay.
Yes, that's probably going to be a better option than whatever.
Just breaking in.
Well, we've got Ijala Baku who could do something, but probably the best would be some lowly waiting staff kind of thing.
Yeah, and if the worst comes to the worst, we can just say, well, look, the adjudicator over there got us the invite.
Yeah, through her mate Havima.
If it's that or death, then I'm happy to do that, frankly.
Well, yeah,
because there's nothing to lose at that
because
stage.
Although in that situation, it would probably be that and death, wouldn't it? I suspect. If it gets to that.
That's true. That's true.
So you go to possibly one of the most upmarket cantinas in Little Algol.
You know, I think before we get there, I'm just going to have a quick chat with Tony and say, I think we're being double crossed. I think the first thing we should do is kill Havima.
Yeah, as soon as we see him, just that seems fair.
I think I can point to something that Havima said to me. Give me a moment. Give me a moment, caller. What was it you wrote, Jonathan? I think it was something like, does this put me on the bad side of the slave trading that I only just caught up on to the streams on YouTube? Not necessarily. Could be a short guest spot, Jonathan said. Jonathan, welcome to your guest spot. This is a brief introduction before your full guest starring episode next week. But do you want to say a little bit about who you are? Obviously, Tony and Dave know you, but our viewers may not.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Pay. I'm a organizer with London RPG Community. I'm a patron of the Effect podcast, who I found a year or more ago, and kind of, when I was exploring Coriolis as a system, kind of fell in love with the whole thing. So these guys have been my guides through it.
Bad luck.
Yeah, London RPG Community, it's a good thing. I'm an email marketer by day and a board game and a role player by every other time when I'm not sleeping.
Excellent. So you've been instructed, as we have been discussing, to expect these two plebeians, and I have no idea what you make of them when they turn. They are probably the least smartly dressed people in this cantina, although reasonably smartly dressed for the people outside this cantina in Little Algol. So make of them what you will. Introduce yourself to them, whatever you want to do.
So we're meeting in a cantina.
Yes.
That's the address, yes.
It's a swish cantina.
I suspect Havima will be sitting in a booth waiting. Seeing these two guys, they're kind of standing out from everyone else and not quite acknowledging them yet. He has a reputation of 7, so he might hold off until you guys make the connection.
I don't have anywhere near enough forelock to tug for meeting somebody with that much more reputation than I have.
So reputation of 7. So would I have actually heard of him previously with that level of
you want to
reputation?
roll some culture dice?
Yeah, why not?
Can we both do that?
I doubt
I-
you would have done because you're not of the monolith. Where
I've been living on Coriolis for years, so.
yeah, no. But Havima
Okay.
lives in the monolith.
I get 1 success on my cultural.
Yeah, you've heard vaguely of this person who is a bit of a socialite and a connector of people.
Would I have an idea what he looked like, apart from the description that Akuba gave us?
You may have a vague idea what they look like as well. Sort of publicity shots on the bulletin and stuff like that.
So, do I spot
Not
a
publicity shots, actually more like snapshots of the upper classes at play.
So are you,
The,
are you,
dining page.
Are you like-
opening nights, on the walk where you've got the photo shoots as they walk up
the red
walk into
carpet.
the location. Yeah,
you're the Dominic Cummings of the monolith, aren't you? That's what you...
Well, that's a bit harsh.
I think somewhat better looking than
Frankly.
Dominic Cummings.
so
True, he's not
Havima.
Yeah.
Havima has black curly hair, kind of about shoulder length, but normally kind of tied back a bit, or at least pushed behind his ears. He has an immaculate beard. He has some eyeshadow as well, and he's very well kept. He's got exquisite clothing on, and an exquisitely embroidered galabea.
Yep, Galabea.
I think that's it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you're Lionel Richie. Cool. That's brilliant. I'm saying, Yaqub, Lionel Richie's over there.
Oshian, that's Havima. Almost as famous as Lionel Richie. But
So, shall we continue this conversation next week, having made this brief introduction of Jonathan? We're up to 9 o'clock.
The first thing I'll do will be put my business card on the desk on the table in front of him.
of course.
So it was a very brief appearance for you, Jonathan, but I did warn you that
that's
it
good.
might be. And so next week you can plan how to get these 2 reprobates into
the palace.
the palace.
All right. Yeah.
Cool.
And you may have
Sounds
some other
like
information on Dol Kassar, which they
plan.
haven't yet heard as well.
Can you get us into Sky City as well in the monolith?
Well, yeah, we might need to go there.
I might have a standing reservation at a place.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to next week.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
likewise.
excellent.
Yeah,
Terrific.
welcome,
Let
John. Yeah,
us,
brilliant.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Stop streaming.
Bye,
Say
everyone.
goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.